Most people don't learn the lessons that matter until it's far too late. You lose time, money, and energy chasing the wrong things, and no one tells you why. I've made every mistake possible, and it cost me hard. At some point in my mid-20s, I realized life doesn't wait, and neither should you. That's why today, I'm laying out 23 lessons I wish I'd learned sooner, truths that actually change the way you live instead of leaving you stuck in regrets. Lesson 1, invest early, even small amounts. My friend, if you have spare money, start investing now. When I made my first $2,000 freelancing, I thought I was rich. You know what I did? Bought a laptop I didn't need and blew the rest away. That money could have been working for me this whole time. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You don't need thousands to start. You just need to start. Time is your biggest asset when you're young, and compound interest is basically free money for showing up consistently. What changed everything? I opened a Roth IRA at 23 and automated $200 monthly into index funds. Nothing fancy, just consistent deposits I barely notice. 2 years later, I've got over $5,000, and that's before decades of future growth. The gap between starting at 20 versus 30 is absolutely massive. That $50 weekly you spend on takeout, it could mean retiring years earlier. Your choice. Lesson 2, start building income streams early. My friend, here's what nobody tells you about money. Relying on one income stream is playing Russian roulette with your financial security. One client cancels, one algorithm changes, one market shifts, and you're done. The goal isn't getting rich from multiple sources, it's building stability and skills that compound over time. Start a side project, create something once, and sell it repeatedly. Build an audience. Each income stream teaches you invaluable lessons about creating value, marketing, and serving people, skills most people pay consultants thousands to learn. Don't obsess over the money initially. That $100 a month side project, it's not about the $100, it's about the experience, the proof of concept, the skills you're developing, while everyone else is just consuming content. Lesson 3, identify what game you're actually playing. Most people spend years optimizing for the wrong game. They chase external metrics, grades, titles, client count, without questioning if these align with what they actually want. The critical question isn't, am I winning, but what game am I playing, and did I consciously choose it? Success means defining your own scoreboard first. Is your goal maximum income, flexibility, impact, or something else? Once you're clear, every decision becomes easier. You'll know which opportunities to accept and which to decline. Don't let sunk costs trap you. Changing direction when you've chosen the wrong path requires more courage than stubbornly persisting, but it's important. Lesson 4, question your assumptions about difficulty. Most limits in business are self-imposed. We tell ourselves we need years of experience, a large portfolio, or strong connections before starting. In reality, those are mental barriers, not real ones. The truth is, people overcomplicate simple steps and delay action with unnecessary prerequisites. The useful question is, how hard should this really be? In most cases, the obstacles exist only in your head. Mindset defines difficulty. If you expect everything to be brutal, it will be. If you approach challenges with curiosity, problems become solvable. Perfect conditions never arrive. Progress comes from execution, not endless preparation. Send the email, make the call, publish the post. Start messy, refine later. Action creates clarity. Lesson 5. Seek forgiveness, not permission. If you want to start something, act without waiting for permission. Seeking constant approval drains time and energy. Asking if your rates are fair, if your portfolio is ready, or if you're allowed to go after bigger opportunities adds no real value. The truth is, no one is as invested in your decisions as you are. Most people are too occupied with their own lives to monitor what you're doing. At worst, someone ignores your work or rejects your pitch. That outcome changes nothing. What moves you forward is execution. The world rewards action more than hesitation. Failed launches, unanswered emails, or ignored content don't define you. Each attempt provides lessons you can't gain from overthinking. Real growth comes from shipping work, even when it's imperfect. Action compounds, hesitation stalls. Stop waiting for readiness. Begin now and improve through doing. Most people hustle for connections and get nothing. In a moment, I'll show you the counterintuitive secret to building a network that actually works. But first, you need to understand the mindset that makes people actually want to help you. Lesson 6. Stop worrying about what others think. I used to agonize over every piece of content I published. What if people think this is stupid? What if someone criticizes my work? What if I look like I don't know what I'm talking about? These fears kept me from putting anything out there for months. Then I realize fear of judgment stops me from creating something. We worry others will think our work is bad, criticize us, or see us as unqualified. This anxiety delays progress and silences ideas that should be shared. The reality is different. Most people aren't paying as much attention as you imagine. When you publish something, it rarely gets the level of scrutiny you fear. People are too busy with their own insecurities, problems, and responsibilities to dwell on your mistakes. That post you regret, it's forgotten by others almost immediately. Recognizing this truth is liberating. You're not the main character in anyone else's story. You are on your own. Once you stop overestimating how much people care, you free yourself to create consistently. Progress comes from producing, not hiding. Anxiety about judgment fades when you understand others are just as focused on themselves as you are. Lesson 7. Become a documentarian of your learning. One habit transformed the way I learn, writing down my thoughts immediately after reading a book or taking a course. Not summaries, but personal reactions. What stood out, what I agreed or disagreed with, and how I could apply it. Early on, I assumed I'd remember everything because insights felt unforgettable. 6 months later, most of it was gone. Now I spend 20 minutes capturing key takeaways in Notion, organized by category. This makes knowledge searchable and useful when challenges arise. The brain doesn't store information perfectly, it leaks. Writing forces deeper processing and turns fleeting ideas into practical tools. Learning without reflection fades quickly. Learning with notes compounds into lasting, actionable knowledge. Lesson 8. Become the connector. Let me tell you a story, my friend. When I moved to a new city at 23 to focus on my business, I didn't know anyone. I was terrified I'd become isolated, working alone in my apartment with no friends or professional network. That's when I decided to become the person who brings people together. Strong networks form when someone takes the initiative. Most people want connection, but hesitate to organize it. By starting small, creating groups, hosting meetups, or making introductions, you become the person who opens doors. Every opportunity, client, and collaboration often traces back to simple acts of initiation. Leadership doesn't require authority. It begins with saying, "Let's do this," when others remain passive. The one who brings people together becomes the natural hub others look to for guidance. If you want lasting relationships and opportunities, don't wait. Create the spaces where they can grow. Initiative is the seed of influence. Real talk. What's the one thing you wish someone had told you earlier? Maybe you stayed in the wrong job too long. Maybe you didn't start your side hustle when you had the chance. Maybe you learned something the hard way that nobody here has mentioned yet. Drop it in the comments below, because I guarantee your story will help someone avoid making that same mistake. Let's learn from each other. Lesson 9. Increase your surface area for luck. When you're debating between staying home and going to that event you're not excited about, go to the event. Individual events might not matter much in isolation, but the more you expose yourself to different people and situations, the more you increase what I call your surface area for luck. Opportunities often appear in places you almost skip. A single event, conversation, or chance interaction can open doors you never expected. The principle is simple. Increase your surface area for luck. The more environments you enter, the more people you meet. The more ideas you encounter, the higher the probability of opportunities aligning with your preparation. Luck is not random, it's exposure multiplied by readiness. You won't have the opportunity to sit at home. That doesn't mean saying yes to everything, which leads to burnout. It means selectively saying yes to situations with potential to connect you with people, insights, or collaborations that matter. Even when you're tired or unmotivated, showing up increases your odds. The consistent habit of engaging with new environments compounds into long-term gains. Preparation positions you for growth, but exposure places you where growth can actually happen. Comfort protects you from failure, but also from discovery. Your network and luck expand only through deliberate proximity to what you don't yet know. Lesson 10. Just don't be mean to people. My friend, kindness is a strategic advantage. Don't be mean to people, ever. That person who annoyed you in a Facebook group, they might become your client 2 years from now. That competitor you're tempted to trash talk, you might want to collaborate with them someday. The world is smaller than you think, especially in any given industry. I've seen people damage opportunities by making enemies over trivial disagreements or trash-talking competitors. Every time, it backfired. In contrast, those who remain respectful and kind attract trust, collaboration, and long-term opportunities. Kindness costs nothing but compounds into credibility and influence. A positive reputation often opens more doors than marketing tactics ever could. Protect it by always choosing respect. Lesson 11. The power of genuine relationship building. Here's something nobody tells you about business. The relationships you build matter more than your skills. Technical ability gets you noticed, but trust and rapport keep opportunities coming. Clients prefer working with people they like, respect, and feel supported by. Genuine care builds this foundation. Remember personal details, celebrate wins, and check in beyond transactions. These small actions strengthen bonds and turn short-term projects into long-term partnerships. Avoid treating networking as a numbers game. Instead, invest in real connections with people you respect. Offer help without keeping score. The goodwill you create compounds into referrals, loyalty, and opportunities. Business thrives on relationships, not transactions. Lesson 12. Develop skills that compound over time. I've learned this the hard way. Technical tools change fast, but foundational skills compound for life. Software knowledge like Photoshop or Illustrator becomes outdated, yet core abilities such as communication, critical thinking, and adaptability never lose value. Clear writing and persuasive communication generate more opportunities than technical skill alone. Critical thinking allows you to analyze problems and design effective solutions in any field. Learning how to learn ensures you can quickly adapt to new platforms and technologies. Daily writing, for example, develops clarity of thought, structured reasoning, and influence through words. These skills don't expire. They strengthen every other ability you acquire and multiply your long-term opportunities. Invest in compound skills. They create lasting advantage. By the way, if you're finding this valuable and want to go even deeper, I write a weekly newsletter where I break down what's actually working in my business right now, mistakes I'm making in real time, and strategies I'm testing before I talk about them anywhere else. It's honest, unfiltered, and designed for people who are actually into building something. Check out the link in the description if it feels right. Lesson 13. Consistency beats intensity every time. My friend, burnout comes from working in unsustainable bursts. Long stretches of obsession followed by collapse create inconsistent results. The solution is small, consistent action. Just 90 minutes of focused work daily produces more progress than scattered marathons. This principle applies everywhere: learning skills, building an audience, or growing a business. The brain adapts through repetition, not occasional intensity. Daily practice creates lasting improvement and compounds results over time. Consistency isn't flashy or exciting, but it outperforms every other strategy. Discipline in small doses builds momentum, prevents burnout, and turns goals into steady progress. Consistency is the closest thing to a superpower. Lesson 14. Learn to say no to good things. Here's something nobody tells you when you're ambitious and starting out. The hardest decisions aren't between good and bad options. They're between good and great options. When I was 22, I said yes to everything, every client, every opportunity, every project that came my way. I was terrified of missing out on something that could be the big break. The result? I was overwhelmed, spread thin, and gave mediocre effort to everything because I didn't have the capacity to give great effort to anything. The most valuable business skill is learning to say no. Taking on every client or project leads to work that pays, but drains energy and direction. A clear filter protects both progress and satisfaction. Does this align with my long-term goals? Will it energize me rather than exhaust me? Is this a client I'd want to work with again? If the answer isn't a strong yes to all three, the opportunity isn't worth it. Every yes commits your time, energy, and focus, which means saying no to something else. Selective eyes create space for the right opportunities. Protecting your capacity is as important as using it. What you decline defines your priorities as much as what you pursue. Lesson 15. Fix your posture. Your future self will thank you. I spent 3 years hunched over my laptop, working from coffee shops and my couch, thinking my body was invincible because I was young. At 25, I now deal with persistent neck pain and have spent over $1,000 on physical therapy, ergonomic equipment, and treatments I could have completely avoided. At 20, your body feels limitless, but every posture habit adds up. Hours spent slouched at a laptop create long-term damage that surfaces later with interest. Simple fixes make the difference. A proper desk setup, a supportive chair, and hourly breaks to stretch or move. These small choices compound into years of comfort, focus, and productivity. Good posture and movement aren't just about avoiding pain now, they're investments in your future. Preventing chronic issues is far easier than trying to repair them later. Respect your body today and it will support your goals for decades. Lesson 16. Build a morning routine that actually works. Everyone talks about elaborate morning routines with meditation, journaling, exercise, and cold showers. That's great if it works for you, but for most people, it's not sustainable. What changed everything for me was building a simple 30-minute morning routine I could actually stick to. I wake up at 7, spend 5 minutes stretching, 10 minutes reading something educational, and 15 minutes planning my top 3 priorities for the day. That's it. Nothing fancy or Instagram-worthy. The key is consistency over complexity. A simple routine you do every single day beats an elaborate routine you do once a week and then abandon. Your morning sets the tone for your entire day. Start it intentionally instead of reactively grabbing your phone and scrolling through anxiety-inducing news and emails. Lesson 17. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I love deep conversations with friends as much as anyone. But here's what I've learned through painful experience. The quality of everything drops dramatically after 2 a.m. The best conversations happen between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. After that, everyone's exhausted, thinking gets fuzzy, and you end up feeling terrible the entire next day. The real value comes before that window closes, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Knowing when to stop is a discipline. Protecting sleep gives you energy, clarity, and creativity the following day. 4. Sleep is not a weakness, but a competitive advantage. The most effective people aren't those who stay up the latest. They're the ones who prioritize rest consistently. Guard your sleep schedule, and it will guard your mood, focus, and long-term performance. Stop blaming yourself for feeling behind. That constant pressure, it's not what you think, and most people spend hundreds of hours learning the wrong way because of it. Stick with me. I'm about to show you the counterintuitive method that actually works. Lesson 18. Falling behind is completely normal. In my first year of freelancing, I had this constant anxiety that I was falling behind. Behind on client work, behind on learning new skills, behind on building my audience, behind on literally everything. I'd look at other people's polished Instagram posts and think everyone had it figured out except me. Until it hits me, every freelancer or entrepreneur feels behind. Everyone has unfinished projects, missed goals, and tasks slipping through the cracks. It just doesn't show on social media. What helps is accepting that you can't do everything at once. Different seasons require different priorities. Sometimes it's client work, sometimes it's skill building, sometimes it's health and relationships. Progress isn't about doing everything simultaneously. It's about focusing on the right thing for the current season. You're not falling behind. You're simply on a different timeline than others. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Growth looks different for everyone. Lesson 19. Learn how to actually learn effectively. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most people consume endless content, but retain almost nothing. Books, courses, podcasts, 6 months later, it's forgotten. The fix is simple: active recall and spaced repetition. Instead of rereading or highlighting, test yourself on what you've learned. Instead of cramming, review the material at spaced intervals. Research has proven these methods for decades, yet few apply them. The result is higher retention in less total study time. Stop chasing pretty notes or passive study habits that look productive but fail. Use methods that actually work. Your time is too valuable to waste on learning techniques that don't deliver lasting results. Lesson 20. Strategic learning beats exhaustive learning. When I started my business, I thought I needed to learn everything. Every design trend, every marketing strategy, every business framework. I took every free course, read every blog post, and watched every YouTube video. I was consuming information constantly, but making almost no progress. The game changer was picking one skill that had moved the needle most. For me, it was copywriting. 3 months of focused practice doubled my income, not because I mastered it, but because competence in a leverage skill elevated everything else. The key is asking, what single skill would make the biggest difference now? Then focus only on that until you're effective. You don't need every skill, just the right one at the right time. Lesson 21. Document everything through photos and notes. The truth is, I have only 15 photos from my entire first year in business. I was so busy grinding that I didn't document anything. Now those memories are blurry. I can't remember my first office setup, how I felt landing my first $1,000 client, or what problems seemed impossible back then. Document your journey, even in small ways. Take photos of your workspace, screenshots of progress, and pictures with people you meet, not for social media, but for yourself. These snapshots become proof of growth when it doesn't feel obvious at the moment. Looking back, you'll see how far you've come. Your 20s and every stage of life won't return. The challenges, small wins, and ordinary moments that seem insignificant now will become meaningful memories later. Capture them. Future, you will value the record, not just for nostalgia, but as a reminder that progress happens even when you can't see it daily. Lesson 22. Collaboration over competition. My friend, competition creates stress and isolation, while collaboration builds growth. Many freelancers start with a scarcity mindset, believing others in their niche are threats who take opportunities away. This perspective drains energy and limits progress. A better approach is collaboration. Refer clients when a project isn't the right fit. Share resources, insights, and strategies openly. Celebrate others' achievements instead of resenting them. The result is stronger relationships, more referrals, and faster learning than any course can offer. Shifting to an abundance mindset, believing success isn't limited, creates momentum. Opportunities multiply when peers see you as an ally rather than a rival. Success is not zero-sum. Another person's win doesn't equal your loss. In fact, their growth can open doors for you, build genuine connections within your field, contribute without expectation, and help both. Lesson 23. Focus on what you can control. This is probably the most important lesson on this entire list. In my first 2 years of business, I wasted so much mental energy worrying about things completely outside my control. Algorithms change, what competitors were doing, whether potential clients would respond to my pitches, the economy, market conditions. None of that worry improved outcomes. It only created stress and distraction. The Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control provides the solution. Separate what's in your control from what isn't. Control includes your effort, preparation, habits, mindset, work quality, and how you treat people. Outside your control are market conditions, algorithm changes, client decisions, and others' opinions. When anxiety builds, ask, can I control this? If yes, act. If not, release it. This simple filter protects focus, reduces wasted energy, and strengthens resilience. Mental clarity comes from refusing to carry weight that isn't yours. Directing effort to controllables is not only practical, it's one of the most effective ways to improve results and peace of mind. The biggest risk in your 20s isn't failing, it's drifting. Most people spend these years distracted, waiting for clarity and letting life happen to them. That's how you wake up a decade later with nothing to show for it. You cannot afford to coast. Every choice you make now is shaping who you'll become and what options you'll have. The truth is, momentum compounds faster than you think. Small disciplines practiced daily will separate you from 99% of people who are stuck in hesitation. Don't aim for perfection, aim for direction. Decide what matters to you, take responsibility for it, and move with purpose. The future doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. Build with intention now, and you'll create freedom later. Waste these years, and you'll spend the rest of your life trying to catch up. The foundation you lay today becomes the ceiling of your tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, this next video right here will take you even further. Your choice, your life. Start now.